Hi everyone and welcome to the start of week 2. Congratulations for making it this far. I'd really love to see some of those pictures of the birds posted up on our group page so we can celebrate each other's journey through this 10-week art course. Now, today we're going to be drawing this cute little frill neck lizard, which is really cute. So he's mainly made up of oval shapes and rectangles, as we can see there. So he's actually got quite a simple shape behind him to make him look this cute. So I'm going to chuck him up there so I can see him as I draw. And I'm going to show you the pencils that we're going to use. So this week I'm just using simple coloured pencils from Kmart. They're just the Anko brand. And these are the colours that I have here. So I have a black pencil, 3 shades of brown, as always, and then I have the 3 shades of red. So we have a red, an orange, and a yellow orange sort of color there. So they're the pencils that we're going to use today. And then we just have the graphite pencil to sketch with and our eraser. Okay, so let's get started. First, we're going, just want to move that over a bit. There we go. All right. So first, we're going to start with a circle. And again, we start with our cross like we did with the birds last week. And then we do the diagonals, like so. Now we're going to join the dots together like this. Next, we're going to draw a jelly bean that comes off this part here of the circle. So we're going to go through it a little bit like this. I might just draw a line as a guide so I know how long I want my jelly bean to be. And just using light, fluffy, short strokes of the pencil, we're going to create our jelly bean. I've also taken the liberty of making the jelly bean slightly slimmer towards this end as we go towards the tail. I think I might have made him a bit too angled, so I'm just going to clean it up a bit. And then I'll erase the lines that don't make sense, just to keep the picture nice and clean. That's why it's important to keep a nice light touch on the page. Next, we're going to add in the tail, which is an extension of this jelly bean. And it's kind of like drawing a little ice cream cone at the start, like so. Then we're going to curve this tail around like this. We're going to gradually make this tail into a point. I'm not too concerned about getting the shape exact at the moment. At the moment, I just want to get a rough idea of what I'm trying to achieve on the page. Okay. Next, we're going to draw the frill for the frill neck lizard. Now, you can think of these as 2 big jelly beans on each side of the head. So starting here, we go up, a big swoop out, and then down quite low, like that. Now this side of the jelly bean, we can start with our basic shape, and then we're going to cut into it because we want the frill on the frill neck to look like it's wavy. Also, Because it's on the other side of the head and only partially showing, this side of the frill is shorter than this side. I start adding broader frills to this side of the frill on the frill neck lizard. Now I'm going to clean up the lines because we like to keep our work nice and neat as we go throughout. Okay. Next, we're going to draw the rough outline of where the mouth is going to be. And you can see in your tutorial that you have printed out that the mouth is kind of like a love heart. And the ends of that love heart will sit slightly just outside the edge. Oh, I've made a mistake. Just outside the edge of that circle here. So it will sit slightly out like this. Also, it's good to note that the top half of the love heart is larger than the bottom part of the love heart. It doesn't look like much yet, but it will soon, so don't stress. Next, at 1 o'clock on this circle, so about here, we're going to draw an arch like this. In that arch, we're just going to draw the circle of the frill neck lizard's eye. Okay. So next we're just going to add some other basic elements such as the legs. I'm actually going to extend out that jelly bean just slightly like this. And then I'm going to draw some stick legs like this, just to get a rough idea of where the legs are going to go. And that's what it should look like at this stage. Nothing too exciting. Next, we're going to use those rectangles that we talked about. We're going to use the rectangles, but we're going to curve them slightly at the ends. So curve the edges like that. And then we're going to do a jelly bean rectangle. And then we're just going to draw like a little half deflated balloon down the bottom. We're going to do the same here. Curve, curve, and then we extend it out and make it curved like that. So it's still kind of like a rectangle, but we've curved it. Next, we're going to do the next curve. Like so. Okay, so we can see our pictures starting to come together. We will do the same for the back legs, except this one's going to be slightly fatter. It's a hind leg. So it needs to be wider. And we can always make it skinnier as we go along. I'm using a triangle here at the base for the back of the paw. Okay, let's start working on these shapes and get this little fellow looking like the little frill neck lizard that he should. First, I'm going to work on this mouth. So first I'm going to just make these shapes look a little bit more like a mouth and a little less like a love heart. You can see here that I'm using the circle and the love heart as a guide to just create that mouth there. Next, I'm going to add a swoosh here, and this will be roughly where the teeth go. Next, I'm going to add a line here, and this is where the tongue will be. Next, I'm just going to add a rough line here to help with the outline of this mouth. I'm just going to tidy up a few of these lines so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, next I'm going to make these little teeth, and we're just going to give them little, it's like a little bit of bumpiness, so they look like teeth. And then I'll just erase the guideline just so I can make it look a bit neater. I'll then also just add another swoosh line so we can really define where his teeth are. Okay. Now I'll add bumpy lines to the bottom part of the mouth to give him bottom teeth. They will be angled slightly back like this. Now I'll just clean up some of those lines. I'll add in an extra line here, like so. Next, I'll add another line in like this. And that's his chin. And I'll go right to the back of this circle and create almost like an L shape. I think I might not have gone back far enough, so I will just erase that and try again. Then I will also add another little line here, a little half moon, and connect his eyebrow like so. I will then add an additional line here. and a little extra bump here, and then connect his little snouty nose. So far, so good. Okay, so next we're going to add the highlight in the eye and the eyeball. Then we're going to add an extra outline around like so. I like to make it a little bit almond shaped. Now we're going to move on to the frill, and where the frill goes in, we're going to add some diagonal lines in like this. It's starting to get a bit messy where the legs are, and we know that the frill is going to be on top of the legs and the body. So I'm erasing part of those areas so we can now just get our frills going in like so. Alrighty. So next we're going to start working on his legs. We're just going to connect all of the lines out like this, and then we're going to erase the middle of the lines. Next, we're going to work on his little claws. You can give him 5 claws or 4 claws, it's up to you. So I like to start with this side here and just draw the actual middle of the claws like this as a guideline. Next, I'm going to just slightly erase the edges of them so they follow in the contour of the circle that we drew underneath. I'm also going to erase the contours of the circles. Now I'm going to draw the claws down, and all I'm doing is starting out a little bit wider and then working my way back in like this. And the reason we're doing that is because we're going to put little nails on the end of these claws, so they will go in a little bit like that. Next, we add our little claws in, like so. Just cleaning up those lines. My pencil's not very sharp tonight, so it's a bit tricky. Then I'm adding a kind of like webbing in between each claw. Okay. I might bring in that top claw just a little bit. Alrighty. So next we'll do the other arm or leg. And we just do the same as what we did with the first one. Alrighty. If you like, you can add a little bit of softness to that. And now we do the claws again. Had to make sure I had the right amount. So now we just erase the lines that don't make sense and keep defining our claws. Alrighty. Alrighty, so next we're going to finish off the back leg. So this line extends just beyond this this rectangle here. Alrighty. So next we're just going to smooth out that line there and bring that leg up. Next we're just going to do this claws. So his claws in this one are going to actually be sitting behind his tail. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, need another claw. Alrighty. Okay. So now I'll erase all the other lines that don't quite make sense, which are the lines that we had in his body, in the middle of the tail. the outside fluffy lines that we don't really particularly care for. Like so. Alrighty, so now we've got our little frill neck lizard. Whoop. It's time to start colouring him in. So we're going to start off with the lightest shade brown that we have, and we're going to colour all the brown areas starting off with this lighter shade. Now remember that not all of your frill is brown, so we want to leave the bottom portion of it blank at this stage, because eventually it will be orange and red. Okay, so now we'll continue on with the rest of the head. I'm not too concerned that it looks a bit funny at this stage, colouring everything in the same shade of brown, because I know I'll be going over it with lots of different layers of different shades of brown. That will make the picture look more interesting. Now you don't have to draw your lizard brown if you don't want to. If you want to draw your lizard a different colour, then you're more than welcome to. Okay. That's a lot of work colouring in your picture. He's quite large on my page. I'm not too concerned that the colour looks scratchy at the moment, because I'm going to be going over this picture quite a few times. Okay. Next, I'm going to grab my next shade darker of brown. I'll just test it over here. Oh, dropped a pencil. Okay. This shade brown has a little bit of red in it, which is fine. So now I'm going to go over the next level of darkness of brown in the picture. It's best just to follow the tutorial guide for this so you can get your shading on point. Alrighty. I'm also going to do the under part of the lizard here, his underbelly, up here. And this side of the leg. And this side of the leg. Alrighty. I might also just colour the entire face of the lizard in this brown. Even though I know it's not going to be the final colour, I think it will just help with making that final layer of brown really, really dark. Okay. So next I'll go to the darkest shade of brown. And I'll go over just parts of the lines here, here, and now I'll continue that line like this. I'll also shade in the frill neck lizard's head. I'm just taking my time and doing little parts in little sections. I'm not trying to do it all at once.